Sometimes life is stranger than fiction. In this case, today we are looking at Peter Kurten, the Vampire of Dusseldorf. The Vampire of Dusseldorf had killed 9 individuals at this point, but the law enforcement was a lot closer to catching the Vampire of Dusseldorf than Peter Kurten had ever realized. There were additionally 30 to 35 victims who survived their brutal attack by Peter, who had given clues to the law enforcement on what the person looked like, how they were built, what they wore, and what general area they came from. Peter didn't know any of this, but Peter had a hunch that law enforcement was not too far behind. One night in early May, Peter was sitting at the dinner table with his wife, eating dinner, when he offhandedly made the comment to her, "They'll never catch the Vampire of Dusseldorf," as the media had nicknamed him. And she said, "Oh, they always make a mistake. They always get tripped up. They'll catch him." Peter then looked over at her, set down his fork and knife, and said, "I am the Vampire of Dusseldorf. I am the one, me alone. I committed all of those murders, and there are more than that they don't know about." She was shocked and said, "You have to get out of town. They're onto you. They're really close. I know it. I can feel it. I have the women's intuition to know that you're about to be arrested." Peter would abruptly leave that night for a 2 week stint at a hotel. But on May 23rd of that year, he would return back home and try to go back to his life as same as it was as before. But law enforcement was so close. In fact, that night, they had actually searched the home area where Peter shared with his wife. He saw the victim of one of his crimes along with a detective, and he turned around and walked away quickly before they saw him. But Peter went to his wife and said to her, "I've got a plan. You're to go to the law enforcement tomorrow, to the police department, and tell them that I am the Vampire of Dusseldorf, and I will come in or I will make arrangements for them to meet me somewhere and arrest me for the crimes, and I will give them a complete confession." So, before Peter could make it to the police department to give them a complete confession, he was walking along with his wife outside of a church, and he was promptly arrested by multiple detectives and law enforcement officers at gunpoint. That small mistake that Peter made was allowing and thinking that one of his victims was dead, but she was very much alive. And because of her courage, Peter Kurten, the Vampire of Dusseldorf, was captured and would spend the rest of his pathetic life behind bars. The entire purpose of this series is not to glorify the actual perpetrators themselves. See, history reminds us all of the Ted Bundys of the world, the Jeffrey Dahmers. We know of their crimes, but do we know what actually got them tripped up and got them arrested? What little mistakes did they all make that got them arrested and convicted for the crimes that they committed against society?